Good evening, you guys. It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC. Um, Going outside of sports in this case for this video, though, guys, and I'm not going to take up too much of your time, so let's get down to it here. So, I've heard, various videos, different news, polls, opinions about this whole 2020 presidential election, obviously between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And this whole presidential election to me is just pure garbage. All right. It's hot garbage. And I was, you know, thinking about it for almost for weeks because, you know, normally in a lot of instances that, you know, you would vote, most people would vote Democrat. But right now, these 4 years of Donald Trump has enlightened how bad the U.S. politics has been. Okay, and what the Democrats are trying to do is trying to band-aid 4 years of garbage that has been tainted on by Donald Trump and the GOP. And I was just like horrified about the Democrats choosing Joe Biden as their Democratic candidate. And you know, it would have been better off to pick somebody else as VP. But when he chose Kamala Harris, I mean, it was basically the end of the line because Kamala Harris didn't even survive the first few weeks of the primaries and had a low approval rating, and yet they choose her as their VP. To me, it's just like, listen, you're asking me to vote for an extreme racist in Donald Trump, and then a conservative racist with a dirty cop on the side of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and I just could not fan of doing it. I can't do it because if I would have decided to cast my vote for either or, how's going to impact this country for the next decade or so? Because the thing is, right now, as a black person thinking about this entire thing, it doesn't make sense to me to give away my vote for something that I obviously do not believe in either or, because both of these candidates are garbage. All right, because neither of these candidates provide nothing for the black community or providing any of the solutions to tackle a lot of the black issues that are going on in this country right here and right now. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're trying to keep status quo. And right now, the status quo is what led to Trump in the first place. And the thing that really, irritates about me is that how a lot of these, people tried to say like, hey, listen, if you don't vote, you're not being American. No, I'm not voting because I'm not castrating my vote for something that does not bend to what I believe in and what I think. All right. And right now, these two candidates provide nothing for me, for black people, or for any minority for that matter. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't. It's not like it's going to affect me per se because honestly, the 4 years of Trump to me has not done anything, that has impacted my life or my family's life. You know, it hasn't affected me financially. It hasn't affected me status wise. I mean, I've just been, the same. And in all sincerity, you know, to really put this in a broader perspective, you know, what this is going to force people is it's going to force people to, really look at things at a broader perspective. You're gonna have to start looking at these candidates and start thinking, what are you gonna provide, for to tackle a lot of the issues going on in this country. You know what I mean? And I made a terrible mistake in voting for Hillary Clinton in 2016, knowing how deeply corrupt she was. But the reason why I voted for Hillary Clinton in all sincerity was because I did not want to depend on the idea of having Donald Trump as the president of the US. And when that happened when I was in college, it really disturbed me. And what began was this 4 years of just corruption, just bigotry, racism. I mean, in all sincerity, they were there, but it's now more and heightened than ever. And it led to the birth of the obviously the height the more of the energized movement of the Black Lives Matter movement. You know what I'm saying? And I just really think right now we are fighting a battle that is not even our concern. The battles that black people need to concentrate the most are police reform, defunding police, you know, re-regulating our criminal justice system so that way that it doesn't unfairly treat black people heavily, and also police brutality. Those are the key issues, and also reparations for slavery. Those are the things that need to be tackled the most. And all the other things like healthcare, immigration. I mean, that's well and dandy, but it doesn't necessarily affect, you know, us per se. It just does not affect us at all. And so I have made it very, very clear that I'm not voting at all. And also, Donald Trump continuously keeps putting his foot in his mouth. Just this week, he basically called the dead soldiers, losers and basically cowards. And it was reported by Fox News. Now he's trying to backtrack it and track it and try to claim that it was being misquoted. I mean, I don't listen. If you're the 33% that still approve of Donald Trump, I don't know how can you defend this. I mean, listen, I believe in all sincerity, it's not going to do anything for his voting opportunities, but I think that it could, affect, independent voters that are really thinking about who are they going to select. You know what I'm saying? I made it very clear that I was never voting to begin with, and Donald Trump continuously keeps putting his foot in his mouth. I mean, every single time, he does something stupid. You know what I mean? I mean, horrible foreign policy, horrible, civil rights, reform, all these other things have been really just put on a horrible reputation of the U of basically of the U.S. democracy. And right now, it doesn't even matter even if Joe Biden comes in because it's not going to cover up all the problems that are going on in this country as we speak. All it's doing is going to basically put a band-aid of hemorrhaging of this pure just trash of 4 years. That's all that comes down to it. And at the end of the day, it's garbage. None of these candidates are worth my vote. It's a waste of time. And if I know a lot of my subscribers are notice, you should not you should even you just should save your vote. Invest more in your local elections. Figure out the politicians that are going to try to impact that are basically impacting your community, and if they and it basically push to try to bring in politicians that are going to try to basically provide different type of regulations, and different type of things that are going to help your community, not hurt it. You know what I'm saying? The presidential election for the U.S. I mean, and basically in the long run, it could affect us, but right now, it doesn't really affect anything at all to me per se. But I will say this, you know, if Biden doesn't get his act together and start, winning some of the key states to help him win the election, it is going to be another black mark against the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? And the GOP party, basically what they allowed Trump to transpire in those 4 years, it's going to affect them for the next generation, and it's going to force them to answer the question: are we going to continue to keep these guys in charge, or are we going to have to change? Those are the things that they're going to have to think about. But that's just my opinion on the matter. I'm not wasting my time voting at all. And if I see people that are gonna say, "Oh, you're not using your American, privilege to try to, vote and all that," bro, I'm not interested in hearing that because both of these candidates are garbage to me, hot garbage, and it'd be a waste of time, concentrating my vote on either candidate that don't match what I believe or what I see are the problems in this country that need to be fixed. So that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Y'all have a great night, man, and stay safe. Peace.